Welcome to Take 303, powered by Four-Way Media, the podcast with the guy who knows a lot about film.
And his friends.
I'm Nick Molinari.
I'm JP Brooks.
I thought I was JP Brooks.
That's Eddie Martinez.
Okay.
That's still you.
What do you mean?
The intro.
Oh.
What's still me?
No, him.
What do I say?
We're talking everything. It's been a while.
We're talking everything film and television.
3.8 out of 5.
Whoa, no.
That just doesn't work for us.
Sound, speeding, camera, rolling. Scene 90. Take 303. Mark.
No half stars on take 303. No half stars on take 303. Alright, okay, No half stars on take 303.
Welcome to Take 303, powered by Four-Way Media, the podcast with the guy who knows a lot about film.
And his friends.
I'm Nick Molinari.
I'm JP Brooks.
I thought I was JP Brooks.
You're Eddie Martinez. We're talking everything film and television. And today, we're talking about the Terrifier 3.
That's 6, I'm sorry.
This is going to be a great episode. Yeah, you're a little out of sync today. You haven't been here in a little bit.
I'm in the middle. This is the closest I've ever been to you on the podcast. While recording, I'm upset about it. Let me be clear.
But yeah, you took 2 weeks off for Megalopolis.
Great 2 weeks. Great 2 weeks.
And for Joker, Folie à Deux.
Best decision I've ever made.
Let's talk about it some more. In cinematic news.
Cinematic news.
I finally get to say you could use that, huh? Nick?
Yeah. The last 2 episodes, I've been saying cinematic news, and this guy won't sing. Imagine.
No, that's not my thing. That's Joe's thing.
Joker, Folie à Deux, officially has the worst cinema score rating in the history of comic book movies ever.
I've heard because it's not really a comic book movie.
Yeah, it does its own thing. It's a musical. They never advertised it as such, and then got mad when people got mad about it. Imagine.
I'm upset that you're upset.
Paul Schrader, the writer of Taxi Driver and a lot of great movies from the 70s and 80s, left after about 25 minutes while watching Joker, Folie à Deux. Things Eddie wished he could have done.
You should have left.
I couldn't because you weren't there. You know, like I feel like it's a buddy system.
It's a rule of 3.
You know how we you did it.
I would have left him.
Am I Racist? Becomes the highest grossing documentary of the decade.
Let's go.
$11.8 million over the weekend.
For a documentary? That's really good.
But before we hop into our full review, we have finished, by the end of this episode, 90 episodes. You've been away from the podcast the last couple of weeks. We were actually away all this weekend. We had to stack some episodes for your bachelor party. We just got back from that this weekend. But I bring up 90 because we always like a nice round number. And you're getting married. Life is taking us into different directions. Dungeons and Dragons really took off for you during the course of this podcast. Like
within a week, I have 5 games scheduled.
Yeah,
they're all 4. So I have 20 hours of Dungeons and Dragons scheduled for 1 week of my life, and I work a 40-hour job, regular job, plus that, plus family, plus planning a wedding. Believe it or not, like finding 5 hours to go to the movie, like not really 5, but like 4 hours to go to the theater,
commute, do the podcast.
It's a lot right now, and that's for me. And as much as I do love, like I hope we still go to the movies.
Oh yeah. I don't want to go to the movies with you in January or February though.
Right.
Like that we could skip.
Yeah.
I'll be so happy to not go to the movies in January, February. This has really been like our third unofficial job at this point.
Yeah.
Especially last year's 31 Days of Halloween.
Oh my! I can't believe we did that. We agreed and thought it would be okay.
And not only that, we finished it. Like
insanity.
Absolutely crazy. Like,
insanity.
And this year we pawned it off on our friends and family. It was such a great idea on my part.
Really great idea.
But yeah, so all good things come to an end. So we are going to end the podcast on a nice number of 100.
The question is the 100 going to be the Broskers episode?
The 100 is the Broskers.
Okay,
yes.
so it's not 100 movies. It's 100 episodes. 100th episode is Broskers. If there's one thing I would do with you in the future, even if it was a yearly episode, I would do the Broskers with you.
That sounds like an amazing idea. Like, just the Broskers.
Even if we never released it, if we just did it together, all three of us, and just sat down and had a little competition, talk about it, I would still do it.
Yeah, so then you're only obligated maybe to watch still less than half of the Oscar movies.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Imagine doing the Oscars episode when you only watch 3 of the movies. We'll be talking more about Terrifier 3 after the break.
Everybody has a vision. Everybody has a dream. Something that needs to be captured on the big screen. We at Fort Wayne Media love taking your passion projects and bringing them to life, whether you're a passionate artist or a small business owner. With expert videography and photography, we're going to take what you love to do, what you love to make, and transform it into a cinematic experience. Fort Wayne Media.
And we're back, and we're talking about Damien Leone's Terrifier 3. Written, directed, and produced by Damien Leone, starring Laura Lavera and David Howard Thornton.
Terrifier 3 follows Sienna, the girl from the second movie, who's somehow kind of the chosen one. Well, she's out of the psych ward, for reasons that are obvious, and she's trying to get back to her normal life when Art the Clown comes back. What? Who could have saw it coming? And now she has to deal with trying to convince everyone that he's back, and the good news is it's Christmas themed, so your holidays can get ruined, and that's Terrifier 3.
Eddie, have you seen the Terrifier movies?
I've seen Terrifier 1. I did not see Terrifier 2. I've seen The Ninth Circle, and I've seen All Hallows Eve.
Yeah, okay, so you know the prequels.
Yes. They weren't prequels, they're anthology films.
He was telling me about the lore in the car, so definitely tell it for the people.
So, the Terrifier, Art the Clown. So before there was an Easter egg at the end of the movie. She's reading The Ninth Circle. You know the VHS collection, the horror collection. So on one of the originals, I believe, there was a short film called The Ninth Circle. That's where Art the Clown makes his appearance. He makes his appearance twice. That one, I forgot the other short film. And then he makes his first major film appearance in All Hallows Eve. Comes out, I think, 2012, 2013. And then that's a box office success, and we get the Terrifier franchise.
Guess the budget.
Hold on, let me do my... Because I'm telling you, that bus was a big part of it. Just getting that one bus. So they filmed in a house. They filmed in 2 houses. That's not too hard to get. They had to do it... It looked like they did it in a real mall, or they had to build a set, so that's going to take some time. I'm going $6 million.
2.
What? No way. $2 million?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That's why I said it was a commercial success.
Oh my gosh. It
Like,
has to be.
how could you not?
Yeah, like,
you make $2 million easy.
You want to, you know the budget for the first 2 films combined?
Go for it.
Oh, I'm going to combine? I'm
Yeah.
going to $800,000.
Around 600, 5 to 6. The first film was actually more expensive than the second film.
Really?
Yes,
Yeah,
the
'cause-
first film was like 450.
Apartment building, pizzeria.
Yeah, they're also starting from scratch and doing a lot of it on their own.
And
Like
the second film was 250. So
these, they have like smaller studios backing them, but still pretty independent. But yeah, so this movie franchise, we can call it a franchise because it's more than 2 films.
Franchise.
Hear that, Todd Phillips? So this franchise really grew out of the tiniest bit.
Yep.
And it's actually like while watching it, like I know we look very like low energy right now just because I feel like these movies really just take it out of you.
Like all joy and happiness? Yeah.
Like you're just like there and you're like, oh God. And then like, how do you double down on that? And then, oh God, like 20 minutes later. And it really just like, it's a roller coaster ride. It really just like sucks the energy out of you because you're like, what did I just watch? So it doesn't necessarily mean we hated it or loved it. It's just still just, it takes it out of you. So when I was watching this movie, I was still really impressed with how far this franchise has come.
This feels like the first I don't want to say real film, but this, I mean, it was made for, they put it in the theaters. The first one, right? In theaters?
No, Terrifier 2 was in theaters.
But not as big as this?
This is definitely the
major
biggest,
wide release?
Yeah.
No, I think major wide, but I think also the reason why this got a sequel is because Terrifier 2, it's like Long Legs, where they sort of got a semi-major release after like people, like there was more demand for it.
Yeah, there's definitely like a lot of word of mouth. I initially came to this franchise hearing things on the internet and just seeing the image of Art the Clown, and I'm like, oh, that looks scary. I was like, I'll watch that. Like I actively search for scary movies. Like we polled a lot of our friends and family recently for 31 Days of Halloween, and we're like, what's your favorite scary movie? And you learn a lot about, like, you know, what people are gravitating towards. You find like different trends and everything, and some people really hate horror movies. So like I actively look for something that will scare me. If it doesn't scare me, it's not entertaining me.
Yeah, and I think this movie you can feel is definitely a step up from the other two in the camera quality, which, like, you know you're watching a low budget film. Even in this one, you're aware of it at times, but it feels like it's a real movie.
It does still have the style of the 80s though,
Yeah.
so it stays true to its roots, where it feels like an exploitation film. It feels like things like Slumber Party Massacre, like Halloween, probably like a ramped up version of Halloween, like mixed in with Saw and Hostel. Like this is definitely feeling like still like a cheap horror movie, but it is presented in a way that feels like a glossed up Hollywood movie for the low price of $2 million.
Yeah, insane. Good for them.
I think I hear $2 million and I'm like, that has to be just the special effects alone, because like that was
like,
so much.
That's got to be 35% of your budget.
Like I'm like, what are you paying these people? Because like I feel like you probably spent like 1.5 on that.
It's a lot of blood, so
That's what I'm saying. Like blood isn't cheap.
It is not.
I would assume. But then also like all the prosthetics, all the makeup,
redos. You know, you need doubles of everything.
Yeah,
triples.
unless they're one take wonders. Like like
you need that. You need copies. Yeah.
But story wise, I definitely felt like going back to the originals, Terrifier 1 was definitely meant to be just like a standard slasher film. Terrifier 2, they delved into the lore, which I liked. I didn't like that. I think it was like 2.5 hours. So I definitely felt like it was too long of a movie. I feel like horror movies and comedies should not be that long.
Terrifier 3 coming out the way that it did forgives a lot of what happened in Terrifier 2, where they gave you so much and too much lore. Terrifier 3 can build the story forward without having to do a lot of exposition dump, without having to necessarily very subtly continue the story without heavy-handing giving it to you. Which I think is the credit to the film, because they spent more time murdering and killing like they did in Terrifier 1 again.
Yeah, they don't let up. Eddie, what did you think?
it's fucking awesome, man. Especially with the last 2 weeks, I finally got to see a decent film.
It is like I on a personal level am never going to watch another Terrifier.
The last two movies, you know, my complaint has always been like, the fuck are you doing, right? Like, $2 million made that. And you're telling me that Francis Ford Coppola, the legend, and Todd Phillips,
the GOAT,
another fucking like, oh, great director, right? And you can't keep me entertained like Terrifier 3 did. Like, as much as like it kept me engaged, it kept me like disgusted, like what the fuck, like all that. I felt something. Whereas these two clowns made me feel like I don't want to watch a movie. Like,
love the metaphors here.
It's amazing how someone who actually wants to make a film, a decent film, a good film.
But I do like the lore of the Terrifier films, because they do remind me of like the original Halloween series.
Very much so.
Except it was actually good here.
Yeah, I don't know why it works, man.
Because like Michael Myers, they tried to do this whole thing where he was like part of like a satanic cult. Like they brought him into it, like the spirit. But this, it works. Like it kind of felt like watching an older movie, but it was made today.
Totally. Everything makes sense.
Well, let's talk about things that didn't make sense. I'm going to start you off with the 5-year gap. It just confused me.
So I'm taking hibernation as recharging.
Okay. I'm very easy to sway, as you could see. That was like
I'm gonna take it as
1 second flat.
Yeah, so what we started with in the movie, you guys saw the hospital scene, right?
Yeah. We only missed the first family.
So the mid-end credits I was just reading into shows her in the hospital and then Art's head. So I'm taking it as they're both like recharging their powers and their abilities, and that they need 5 years to do it.
Okay.
That's all I can think of, because they even mentioned the demonology thing. Like one one's a vessel, and the other one's the one that powers the vessel.
Yeah.
That's why he gets resurrected at the beginning of 2. So.
Ironically, a better Foley ado than the
Yeah.
other one we got.
Yeah, way better chemistry between. Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. Like there were little things that didn't quite make sense throughout the movie. I think they happen throughout the entire franchise where, you know, people will see Art the Clown looking exactly like Art the Clown and not freak the fuck out. Like, especially when now, like, a lot of people know about him. Like, the scene in the mall was just crazy that, like, he just walks around like that and no one notices or freaks out. Like, I don't know about you guys, but if you had a kid and they were sitting on that guy's lap, like, I don't think you'd be like, "Oh, Johnny, come here."
I take a bat and start swinging.
Yeah, like that was just.
I
And
think we're supposed to be applying, like, again, the 80s logic. Like,
he has blood all over him.
That I agree with, but they don't know how he looks like. Remember, it's every time he gets his head chopped off, they don't know, like, every time they see just a puddle of blood.
Oh yeah, who would have thought that this would be the one where he does blackface?
Yeah.
That was a bold choice.
That was a bold choice.
Art.
If you want to know what's in this movie, it's the same old blood, gore, ramped up.
So much blood and gore.
So much blood, ramped up to what I thought couldn't be possibly topped. Ridiculous. And the story is fairly simple. Yeah. And yet it somehow builds on it, even though I think in the grand scheme of things, Terrifier 3 moves the needle literally an inch.
I actually do have a complaint. I'm kind of sad that we didn't get to see how the brother or the husband died.
Because even like with the skull, it's revealed that it's the brother. So like to have a whole death scene of the brother, it kind of feels redundant to make that like a big deal. It feels weird to say favorite kills, but most interesting kills.
One when he like fucking uses the chainsaw to cut the guy in half, like the way he was cutting it.
That's probably the most brutal.
Yeah.
The shower.
Not the girl, but the guy.
Yeah. He went in. Like that was.
That's what she said.
I did not. I did not enjoy this movie in the slightest.
Like every time kills just happen, like you think like it would be over, and then it just keeps going. I think the worst one for me, I mean the shower one was pretty aggressive, but I think the mom, the aunt.
Second one that I liked.
I don't like is not the word I would
use. We're not talking about favorites. We're not talking about likes. It's like just what stuck out the most, I guess.
I'm genuinely disturbed that I watched. Like I will never.
Somebody walked out.
I'm being very serious. Yeah.
You didn't see the guy sitting in the front?
Yeah.
He walked out in like 10 minutes after we came in.
Yeah. I'm genuinely disturbed by the film. I will not be watching any of the other films. I'd be interested to know where the story goes at least, but I will never watch any of these movies ever again.
I mean, I didn't watch Terrifier 1 and 2 in preparation for this. Like, I don't have any intention to watch these movies again. Like, you do feel kind of disgusting. And you know what would have been interesting if it was a full house? Like, just to, like, have that audience reaction, like, see other people reacting to this.
You're gonna get a full house, I think, during because this is very much a Halloween horror.
Well, we went at 2:30 in the afternoon on a Tuesday.
No, I'm saying not even. I don't even think it's this week. I feel like if they keep this movie till Halloween, it's gonna be. This is again the last movie, which was only like $300K budget. It made $15 million.
Let's talk about acting. Obviously, David Howard Thornton is killing it again, literally.
Yeah.
His performance. It's kind of funny how he can be funny at times still. He has those little quirks about him. Mm-hmm. And he says a lot with his eyes and his motions, his smile. Like, he really does kind of like just like snap on people just randomly. Like, you never know when's the moment that he's gonna swap.
I think he gives me like Nicolas Cage vibes, like, you know, like the long leg vibes without talking. The way his facial expression is like, it's so good. I'm just like, I love that guy. I'm like, damn, son.
Actors should like take lessons about what facial expressions look like.
They should just look at Nicolas Cage movies because that's what, like, Nicolas Cage facial expressions are just exactly like this guy. Like, they're like, I think he's like top tier. Yo, William Dafoe, like those guys.
If you thought that the first two movies didn't cement Art the Clown as like one of the most memorable horror film characters of all. Like, this is it.
Yeah, and
after this point, you can't even argue.
I'm so glad that they never caved and got him to talk.
I hope they never do.
No, I don't think they will.
No, at this point they never will. But I definitely could have seen like the transition between Terrifier 1 and Terrifier 2 as like giving him like lines to establish lore, and they never did. And I'm just so happy that they never did that.
The Ninth Circle did it. He was just, if anything, a stalker. Like, it was more of a stalker type thing. And then it just, the fact you could see it evolve to this is like quite amazing. It's like, damn.
Which is why I give again Leone a lot of credit, is because he could easily cash in on a movie where Terrifier 2 art talks.
Writing wise, I do think it trimmed out the fat that 2 had. I do think some of the dialogue is a little stiff. I think it had a lot of Shyamalan dialogue.
Yep.
I didn't like Gabby. I did not like. I might like Gabby. She was. I don't know, man.
Strong take.
The dad sucked.
Yeah.
The dad sucked. He was like just really the first car scene.
I wanted to make an inappropriate joke. Were we on the same page about this?
Yeah.
You want to say it?
No.
Say it.
The sexual tension between
Ooh.
them was like thick.
Yeah,
so
that's all I thought. Like, you got me out of the psych ward. Call me daddy.
Calm down.
Sienna's great. The actress is doing her despite whatever you might think about the film, Sienna's acting chops for this character in particular, she's done a great job in both films. She's I think carrying just as hard as Art. Art is obviously what you're there to see, but I give a shit about Sienna now.
Well, that's why I compared her to like Heather Langenkamp in Nightmare on Elm Street, because she is like officially a scream queen at this point, but she is like the Jamie Lee Curtis to Michael Myers. Like, she is just as up there as they are.
She's very good.
That's what I'm saying. She's gonna be in the next one, 100%. I don't know if they're gonna make a Terrifier 4, but I'm interested in what they're gonna take. Like, Sierra's excellent. The actress is excellent.
She's great. It's crazy that in a movie like this, with the topics such as with the visuals as this, like, you can still generally say there's an actual film in there somewhere. Just want to warn everyone. Somehow more fucked up than the first two. I genuinely think so.
No, it is.
The ending scene inside the house. I'm going home to pray about it. And like I am not kidding. Disturbing. It made me genuinely question like why I'm in this theater right now and why am I watching it. No, I mean it's like a serious question.
No.
How much can the human person's stomach and take? I think this movie is really pushing that question, and even to the point where I'm like, no, I on principle, I will never watch another one of these movies because I actually think it is. I think it's actually damaging to go see it.
It is crazy. It could also be dangerous in a
Yeah, I think it's actually a dangerous film to go see.
To just kind of add on to the vibes that this movie was giving, since it's a little bit early for Halloween, we might as well make this our Halloween-ish episode.
Sure.
So before we head into final thoughts and ratings, I would just want to ask both of you a simple question. What is your favorite scary movie? We put out, at this point, we will be putting out a 31 Days of Halloween. We had our friends and family kind of make that list so that way it's easier on us. But we also will have our own picks up there. So what are those?
Mine is The Witch. The Witch.
Krista also picked The Witch, so you have to pick a different one.
Rip.
She got to it first.
A couple of my picks were taken. Same rule for your job.
I'm not lying.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let me think about it.
But it's funny that you did you know that she picked it?
She probably picked it because she knows that's my favorite fucking horror film.
Well, if you want, I'll talk about.
Yeah, what's yours?
So it's gonna be Hereditary. Hereditary.
I was right in my fucking
All right,
wheelhouse.
no, I did say no. I have a backup.
No, you take it. No, there was this other movie.
There's another one. There's another one I want to talk about though, if you want.
No, take Hereditary.
So no, it's fine.
I gotta think about it.
Yo, he was so hyped about this yesterday when I
talk
told
about
him.
Hereditary. Talk about
No, he will. But I want to tell you how pretentious he was being last night, where he was like, I need to pick a movie that no one's going to pick. He's like, if someone picks a movie, I don't want that one.
Yeah.
He's like, if someone even thinks of that movie, I don't want it. He's like, I want to pick something that no one is going to think of. So, Eddie, go ahead.
So, I love horror. Halloween might not be my most favorite holiday, but I do love the horror franchise, so that's why I'm a big fan of the Terrifier 3. So I know a lot of guys. My original pick was 28 Days Later. I think it's the perfect zombie film. I love the zombie genre. However, somebody chose it. So
Richie did, yeah.
Yep. So I will go. I was gonna go with. I thought people were gonna choose like Alien and like fucking what else we had. We were talking about this yesterday. Was
Yeah,
Alien.
I mean, no one picked Alien. Somebody
All
referenced
the popular
Alien.
ones. I was gonna, I was also gonna go with like Train to Busan. There was. Wow, I'm like blanking out. We were talking about this all yesterday. What the hell?
Yeah, I got the official list here, so I could run through that with you.
But my runner-up pick was gonna be The Host. The Host film from Korea. A guy who made Parasite. Excellent film. It's one of the best monster films of all time. It made me cry.
Did you see it in theaters when it came out?
No, I saw it in a car.
Shit.
Yeah.
To have that effect in a car is
Man.
massive.
However, I think Hereditary is one of. Did you see it, Joe?
What?
Hereditary.
Yeah. Same.
I don't know if you feel like how you feel uncomfortable with that film, like with Terrifier 3. That film, it's made me feel very uncomfortable.
I'm not surprised.
For reference, these are the movies that were picked.
He nailed like all the themes. Toni Collette killed it. Like I think she was fucking amazing. And Ari Aster, man, he could like write some fucked up scenes, man. That was like the scream, like it's not even the deaths, it was just Toni Collette screams. Like how we talk about scream queens. Like I get it, but like because of like my occupation, like Toni Collette reminded me of like those like it screams. It's like grieving screams that really hits the soul for me, and I'm like, holy shit, this sucks. Excellent horror film all around.
Yeah, and for me, no surprise here, it is Scream. I think it's just a perfect slasher film. I think it's a perfect homage to the slasher genre. Like, it really pays so much homage to its roots, and it adds a little satire, a little comedy into it. A lot of commentary on the genre itself. It's crazy that it was written by the guy that made Dawson's Creek.
Good stuff.
Love Dawson's Creek. But yeah, just a very iconic movie. It was very groundbreaking when it came out. A lot of the things that we take for granted in the horror franchise, especially slasher franchises, come from Scream nowadays. Like, if you make a slasher movie, there's no way you're not referencing something from Scream or being influenced by something from Scream. Spoiler alert, like the Drew Barrymore sequence from the original, it was like so shocking to people, because at that point she's like the kid from E.T. and like they thought she was like gonna be like fronting a horror movie, and she's on the poster, and then for her to die in the first scene, it was just absolutely groundbreaking. And the first 10 minutes of that movie, that whole sequence, I think is just a masterclass on like how horror is done, coming from Wes Craven, one of the granddaddies of horror. Joe?
Obviously, it's Night Swim. Ghost Pool. No. I think the Babadook is like not to be mentioned by anybody is criminal, but I'm not gonna mention it, so I'm gonna go with something else. I actually think the first movie that scared the shit out of me, where I like wanted to run out of my house, it's one scene from the Zodiac Killer. It's when he goes to visit that guy and he's in the basement.
Mm.
That one scene alone, I think I was genuinely like terrified. And that was probably the first time I watched a scary movie by myself. I didn't know. It's like you might call Zodiac thriller. Maybe it's not a horror movie.
I'll give it to you. I mean, we run the show, so we do whatever we want.
Yeah, for me, Zodiac's probably...
No, Zodiac is considered a horror film.
Now, a guilty pleasure, Paranormal Activity. I fucking love that shit. Like, if you
I hated the first movie so much.
I love the...
I hate that.
And so, depending on what you want to do, if you think that Zodiac's not good, I would actually just pick the Blair Witch.
I liked.
Well, because it's the original to Paranormal.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna mention the scene from Zodiac where it's the couple and like you see him like walking up to them, and that's fucking like they don't show, but it's like That's terrifying.
Yeah, Zodiac scares, and the fact, and like even just the ending where they're talking about the real stuff. Yeah, Zodiac is always scary.
So which one do you want me to put on this list?
If Zodiac can be acceptable, yes. If not, Blair Witch Project.
I'll take Zodiac. So let's bring this back to Terrifier 3. I'll start it off. It is a ridiculously gory, crazy, bloody bloodfest. Like there's really no words to describe what we just watched. And like we literally, all three of us looked at each other after the movie was over, and we were just like, "What was that?" Like not just like not confused, not enraged, just like what was it? Like how was that able to happen and then be brought onto screens? What Damien Leone has done for this franchise, with this franchise, is absolutely incredible from a filmmaking perspective. The performances are surprisingly really good for a horror movie, particularly from our two leads. The rest of the cast might fall off into the shadows. The dialogue isn't the best at all times and honestly feels a little wonky, feels like a first draft sometimes. But overall, it is an interesting series to delve into. It's one that, similar to other movies that you will only watch once in your life. Like I have no intention ever to watch this series ever again. Like I know it. I explained to Ethan during the bachelor party just one scene from Terrifier 1, and I was like just thinking out loud, like what did I watch? Like why am I telling this man about this? It will definitely shock you. It will horrify you. It will terrify you. It's in the title. Overall, in terms of horror movies, it has made me the most uncomfortable. I don't think it has that scare factor, but it does really pay a good homage to the 80s of where this movie comes from. Like its themes, its style. For all that being said, I'm going to say that this is still just a general average movie. I don't think it's anything spectacular. I think it really just has that shock value. So I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5.
I don't recommend anybody go watch this film. I regret watching it. However, the people who made it clearly know what they're doing. And as far as if you were going to make this movie and you had to make it, I think this is the way you do it. And give them a lot of credit because they know what they're making, they know the audience, self-aware, all that stuff. So from a writing perspective, from a director perspective, clearly they're good at what they do. I don't want to take that away from them. However, from a personal standpoint, I don't think anybody should watch this movie. That being said, it still gets, on a personal level, 1 out of 5, never watch it. On an objective level, I think it's a 4 out of 5. Terrifier 3 especially, picking up all the pieces, and I think this is how you make, if you want to keep a franchise going, this is how you do it. Especially, like, you know, as movies goes on, sequels are always tough to, like, top. Somehow better than the second one, and I would say even as good as the first one. Tough to do with a third movie. Respect. 4 out of 5, but it is an awful film. Don't watch it. 1 out of 5.
So for my horror aficionados, to everyone, again, I repeat what Joe might have said, but can't stomach a lot of gore. It's very uncomfortable. It wants to make you uncomfortable. I think a lot of horror films nowadays, the good ones know that it has to make you uncomfortable. The bad ones don't give a shit. And this one clearly gives a shit about its audience. Again, I've seen this. I've seen the journey this man has taken, this Art the Clown in general has taken. It's an amazing journey. It's an excellent film because of the last 2 films I've made. I think it's like a lot of bias I'm going to put toward it because it's going to be a 4 out of 5 for me. A lot of bias. I know this is a 3 out of 5. It's a solid film. I don't think it's better than Long Legs. But we've seen so much shit, and then just like seeing this movie, I'm like, finally a good movie. And that's why I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Like it's
For what it is, how could you not? You can't. I don't think you can call it a bad film objectively. Like I want to call it a bad film, but I can't.
Yeah, like again though, for
It's
all
not a
horror
bad-
films, all far like even like the picks that we did, like again, like even her, I don't recommend, like you guys are uncomfortable with like fucking
I don't know.
Terrifier, but like Hereditary for me, like I do not recommend that to a lot of people because that in itself is it's a psychological horror.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes,
it's
this one
not-
is easily like body horror. It's torture. Like people thought Saw was torture porn. This is
Yeah.
torture porn. Like actually pornographic of torture.
Explicit.
Like, yeah. So before we end, I just pulled up our ratings from Terrifier 1 and Terrifier 2 just
Yeah.
for reference. Terrifier 1, I gave it a 3. You gave it a 4. Terrifier 2, we both gave it a 2.
Yeah, not surprised.
So it's interesting how now you're back up to a 4.
Well,
a good
again,
one.
Reddit all gave it lock. Like everyone has been giving it like above 70 on Rotten Tomato. Terrifier 1, I think, got above like around the 70. I think Terrifier 2 was the best one in the whole series, and then Terrifier 3 is going back to Terrifier 1 expectations.
Yeah, but it has the back of, but it has.
No,
this-
absolutely.
yeah.
No, I'm just saying that. I'm like, because
Yeah.
I was reading that, so it's like, again, in general, though, I think I'm very much like credit to this man to give, like, it's everyone is agreeing. The ones who've seen it, like, they know what this is, they know what they want, and this, they're gonna keep. I think they're gonna keep going. To be honest, I don't know how long, but yeah, I think it's like the Chucky guy. I think it's Chucky's been made by one person.
Yeah, this is gonna go on. I'm not. These Terrifier films they're gonna go on.
They're gonna go.
They're gonna go on. I can see this being 8 fucking movies like Halloween and all that other bullshit. Like you've got a franchise, and just like all the other Halloween movies, I haven't seen all of them, but I imagine it's kind of the same formula of another one gets made, same horror, same scares, and then they move the needle on the story just enough to keep you interested. Mm-hmm. Is that kind of how it goes?
I mean, not the one with LL Cool J, but
Yeah, besides that one. Well, that being said, there's been another episode of Take 303. I hope you don't go see this fucking movie. Thanks so much for watching this. I don't even want to know your thoughts on this movie. Genuinely, follow us on Take.303 and _way_beat on Instagram. We have a YouTube. We've only got 10 episodes left at this point. Catch you next time when we watch, hopefully, a less gory film, because I can imagine that just has to be possible. There's no way it's not. Bye-bye.